Octopus 123 take on Morlockk in the Crazyhouse World Championship, and Morlockk already won game one. And hi there, Ganesh in the House Party channel.
Right. Are you broadcasting live?
I just started the stream. Yep. So hopefully
okay.
it's broadcasting okay. Yeah. I was just pinging the last 5 matches to be completed in round 6, and these guys decided just to play on the spur of the moment.
Mm.
So you have to go king takes bishop somehow, but it's looking uncomfortable for black.
I think it will be 1-1 after this game.
Yeah. So I'll just quickly play through the first.
That's a clean. It's a queen up for white, and no material compensation, or and the position is bad also, so it looks hopeless. And I thought Retarded Platypus was on his way to win the first game, but he spent too much time thinking.
Yeah, I saw he was low on time, but I thought he was surviving, but then apparently, yeah. I'll quickly flick through game 1 at the beginning of game 3 to show the viewers what happened, because we missed it. I mean, king is feeling a bit awkward on h2 probably, but
Yeah, white just needs some time to place his pieces he has in hand.
just let me adjust something.
King h2 looks perfectly fine.
Yep.
But he's being a bit more aggressive. He wants to send his king on a mission to pick up the knight.
Yeah, it doesn't look. I mean, what I don't like is diagonal control. Exactly this. Yeah, you don't want your king on h4 here. That's mate, in fact.
Yeah, and actually, it doesn't have a way back.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm so surprised he did that.
Yeah, this is really risky.
Because at g5 is mate now.
Because, yeah, even if black is low on material, white's king is trapped in enemy territory.
Yeah, I don't know why he'd do that. When you're up so much material, why do that?
Yeah, it was bad strategy for white. He could have just played king to h2 and...
Okay, so black's going to be a pawn short of mate, basically, with rook at g6.
Yeah.
And pawn at g5. So black just needs a pawn. And hi there, Lucas Schacht in the Twitch chat. Okay, so where are you going to get the pawn from, though? Actually, it's not so obvious. But I mean, it's not so obvious, but it's not clear that white's got anything instant either.
He could he could play bishop f6 check, yeah. Then you get a knight in hand, which you could place on g2 later on, and you're still safe here.
I was thinking
White doesn't have anything.
Yeah. So you're now having to play moves like bishop f1 or something. Oh, but no, rook h6 is also a threat. Rook h6, block.
I'm not sure if it's a threat, but you could just, yeah, bring all the pieces to the party. Black has 3 rooks. It's a strange situation. And maybe white can survive this, but he's low on time also.
You need to cover g5, I feel, somehow. How do you cover g5? Yeah, that doesn't cover g5. So
I would probably go back with the rook to g7 and open up some squares. Okay, now he has a bishop. He threatens mate, bishop g5, and rook h6 is mate.
Yes, that's the threat. Now, is there a counter mate here? No. That doesn't stop it. Didn't cover g5. That is going to hurt.
Yeah, that's going to hurt a lot. You can't afford playing like that.
So I was going to say as they warm into game 3, but it seems like the action is already getting warmed up in game 3. But I'll just quickly play through for the viewers what happened in game 1, where Retired Platypus was black, just like in game 3. And attack on h4, drops on f3. Looking good. Opening up the bishop for h3, getting a pawn to drop on h3. Then h4. At e2 looks like you're just giving away a pawn. Wasn't there something better?
Yeah, at e2 was premature, I think.
Yeah.
Waste of a good pawn.
So the bishop is keeping the king safe just about. And the problem here is Platypus is just low on time. Probably in this position, it's not. That's what's the engine saying.
Maybe there was something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe there was something, but it's just low on time. At h3, at h3 at some. Yeah, that's at h3 at some point. The question is at what point. Yeah. So apparently move 12 at b2 was even an idea. At b2, the idea being if you take it, then knight at d2 was... Anyway, I'm going too deep. Let me just turn multiple lines on. For some reason that turned off. Okay, so what actually happened in the game was black kind of curled up into a ball, and yeah, it was all over pretty quickly. So okay, let's get back to the game 3.
It had 2 healthy extra pawns, and Black's king wasn't safe.
Yeah.
And Black's king isn't safe now either.
Nope.
I feel he got out prepped in this game. Retarded platypus. And isn't knight g4 almost mate?
So you can't take the knight. Why not? Why didn't he take the knight on f8?
Because of knight g6 mate.
Ah, of course.
So it's 3-1, which is
Three
rather
love.
surprising.
3 love, yeah.
3 love? Oh, even 3 love.
So in that final position, what was happening to that king?
Yeah, it didn't have a way out.
If he goes forward, he's mated, and if he comes, because knight coming to d2 is checkmate, and if the king runs back to d6, then what was the finish? Okay, I'm just unable to see it for some reason. So I'm going to quickly.
Yeah, maybe he just got sick of his position. I'm not sure.
So king d6 apparently is mate in 4. I'll just show it. I didn't see it how to do it. So knight at c4, king c5, b4 push. If king takes c6, you just throw away the knight and drop a pawn on b5. That looks like mate. So probably have to take something.
Yeah.
So take here, for example, and then knight a3 is checkmate. And if you sidestep, then things are much.
Or a pragmatic way to do it would just to you could just check on b5 with the knight and pick up the bishop on d4 also earlier in the final position, because the black king is hopelessly stranded.
Yes. And so that's the only piece threatening black. But he does have pawn, bishop, queen. But yeah, but that's also completely winning, obviously. Okay.
Yeah. The knight takes d4. This is winning for sure.
Winning for black. Oh, sorry, you mean the last game? Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, the last game.
Yeah. So sorry, this is going quite quickly. So this game, black seems to have won a pawn. White's casting queenside. d4 push is coming, and there's a nasty diagonal pointing at the white's king. So black seems to be doing well this game as well. Black's got an open file, a good diagonal. Like in terms of standard chess principles, black's position is beautiful. Hi there, staying free. Eddie against Morlockk. Yeah, so staying free is freebie on Lichess. Yep, and Platy is definitely the favorite, but he's being outplayed 4-0. So he has to warm up. Okay.
So that's a standard piece sacrifice.
What?
Black resign. What's happening?
This is tilt, because this is fine. By the way, you give up the knight on e4, it's completely fine. You give up the knight on e4 for a pawn, and it's completely fine.
Yeah.
But it is theory. This is this concept of.
Oh, okay. That's a way to play also.
I guess Platypus was not in the mood for a match. Okay, so sorry, that was a very short stream. If you like, we can look at the very last game between littleplotkin and Terra. You can you can say how you would have approached that the final position in that. So littleplotkin was 5 love up, and then Terra fought back to 5-4, and just going to try and bring up this final game. So it'll be the last game on littleplotkin's. No, it won't be. The last Crazyhouse game on littleplotkin's profile. And I can post actually the game link in the Twitch chat. Okay, so we'll look at it from White's perspective. So Terra as White here, he's managed to fight back from love 5 to 4-5, and he's White. But actually Black is doing quite well. I mean, the king looks a bit stranded on d2, but apparently I didn't realize this king on d2 is actually not so bad. It's quite hard to attack. And really interesting queen sack, and suddenly after move 17, knight takes d5, it looks like White is actually doing quite nicely. His king is actually not so unsafe, and littleplotkin goes queen to g5, hitting g2, and obviously if he gets queen takes g2 in, there'll be all sorts of threats on White, but isn't White's attack faster? So hi there, Gingerbread Man, and hi Morlockk, who's wondering what happened. I have no idea. Platy's a good player, says Oppa, but he's done, not in the mood. Yes. So we're just going to quickly look at this one game. And yeah, so what would you play, Ardasyu Ganeas, as move 19? black is threatening queen takes g2, but it really looks like white's attack is faster. And I think I remember in the Twitch.
Yeah, I mean I can see he played knight c4, and I like that move because you bring another piece with tempo to the board.
Yep.
And black doesn't have a lot of good moves. He suffers from the strong pieces in Crazyhouse are also weak because they are strong. They are targets for white's light pieces. And knight c4 covers a lot of squares on the board, threatens the bishop on a5 and also the pawn on d6. I see the computer recommends knight f6 check.
Oh,
Which
I didn't even see that one.
probably
That was complete. Like that's out of everyone's radar. Like knight f6, who would play that? So what was funny is during the live match, maybe we can find it in the comments. Legion Destroyer, I was saying knight c7, knight at c7. Obviously at c7 seems obvious, just to pick off the back rank defender for the black king. Like it's a free piece basically. And I had claimed after queen takes g2, we're definitely winning this this position. If bishop takes knight, knight takes king d7, knight takes rook. Black doesn't have time to, for example, go and pick up g2. I don't see the mate, but there is apparently a mate in 6 in this position. Knight at c5 captures the knight, or what's the idea here? Because you're opening up a rook. Sorry, opening up a knight on e5 drop. King e8. Oh, you have another rook in.
But I would prefer to play yeah. But instead of capturing c7 the first time, just move the king to d7. Because then you have c7 covered.
So what would you do, sorry?
So when the knight lands on c7, I don't take it. I play king d7 instead, with the bishop still on a5.
Oh yes, okay. So you go king d7 directly. So after knight takes rook, queen takes g2. Maybe I will turn the engine on. Yeah, so where is our mate? Apparently the mate is with, well, rook e7 looks natural. So if the king runs up,
But you could also just take on a.
just
You could
take
take on a8 instead.
take the knight. Yeah.
Instead of taking g2, you could just take the knight to the corner.
Yeah, got it.
And you have some sort of defense.
And okay, so Stockfish sees
Probably very bad.
sees apparently a mate, but it's okay. So it's not obvious at all. But the double knight drop basically, because d6 is overloaded, it can't defend both the knight drops, and I can't see. So obviously, I think if the king drops back, you're going to mate with a couple of pawns, but we don't have a couple of pawns. But okay, so it's not completely obvious, but okay, so this would have. So rook d6, king takes rook. I'm just playing through this engine line, which is not necessarily useful. But king e6, knight to c7. What is the idea of knight to c7? This is like very hard to see. You're trying to make way for a bishop drop, and then king rook takes c7. Okay,
Yeah.
that's really hard to see, but yeah. So that's checkmate. Is there something easier to see? Not really.
That's a typical computer line.
Yeah, that's hard to see.
No.
Oof, that's really hard to see. So anyway, knight at c7 was what I was thinking. Then Legion Destroyer was thinking rook at g3, just staying safe, and white's completely winning. And what he actually played in the and Mugwort was saying bishop at c4. I think he said in the bishop at f4 rather in the Twitch chat. And that's probably also winning, although the engine for a moment really liked bishop at a4 as a response, trying to get a queen in. I'm not quite sure what the idea. Bishop a4, both providing defense and threatening queen drop on c2, but that seems apparently doesn't quite work because the queen on c2 isn't quite mating, and the king can run away perhaps. But Okay, and then what he played in the game was also very nice. So I was wondering, yeah, how would you approach this position um, if you were white on move?
Yeah, rook e3 looks fine, obviously, but I like the knight c4 idea.
Knight c4. Okay, so that's what he played. Knight
Yeah.
at c4, and it's almost tempting black. Come on, take my g2, and I reckon I have mate, and I was sure that he'd calculated some mate after this point. So Gingerbread Man asks, who is Ganez on Lichess? He is old dash has been. So that old has dash been rather. Okay, so it turns out knight at c4 maybe isn't so good because black can just castle and he's got safe, and so actually things are not so clear at all. But okay,
Oh, the right to castle.
yeah, castle is the move. But littleplotkin is tempted. He goes for queen takes g2. So what do we play here? I mean, it's knight takes d6 is just almost automatic. And if the king stays back, then there's a very beautiful mate in two with just with knights basically, because the king can never come up because these two squares are blocked off. So the two knights mate on their own.
Yeah.
So the king definitely has to come up as happened in the game, and maybe I should turn the engine off and because they're like a million ways to mate here, but still it's tricky and still it's easy to mess up because the bishop on a5 is providing some coverage. So what do we play next? So maybe this is for the viewers and for Ganez.
Rook e7 looks very natural.
Yeah, rook e7 completely
Rook
natural.
e7 looks very natural.
Yes, I agree. Rook e7 looks very natural because you're sort of cutting off the king. It either goes back, it can't go back to the back rank because the knight is covering two squares on the back rank. So if it did go back to the back rank, hang on, what's the mate? It's not mate in one, but okay. So how do we deliver mate? Just knight takes f7 will be checkmate. No,
Knight,
won't.
well, the king doesn't have a square, so you can just place a knight on c6 and then another knight on b7.
Yeah, excellent. So if the king steps back, it's in a trap. Let's see if there are other ways of doing it. Knight to c6, knight to b7 was what you said. That's very nice. Is that
or knight e6 and knight f7.
Let's see then. Yeah, that's very cool. Are there other ways of doing it? I was thinking knight at e6, clearing away a square, and then the second knight.
Knight at f7.
Knight at f7. Yeah. And what if we didn't have two knights? Like if I just put a knight in the corner and just move a queen move. Do we still have mate? We still have mate. Maybe we just pick up an extra pawn.
Yeah, you could just capture d7.
Yeah, capture on f7, and that clears
You only
away
need
for a room for a single knight, so we can even mate with a single knight on either e6 or f7. Okay, so the king is in a box, and okay, I'm going to turn the engine off, and so what does the king do? It has to either step up or take the knight, and let's see what happens in the game. I think he takes the knight. It's very natural. Gives him extra ammunition if white fails the mate. So what's the construction? How are we going to mate with two knights, a bishop, and a pawn?
Yeah, well, knight b5 looks promising.
Knight b5, and then he takes our second knight, and our plan would be
pawn c4.
Pawn at c4, and then what if he kind of runs back and starts gobbling our rook?
Yeah, but he
he
can't run back.
Yeah, he can't run back. The square is covered.
D6 is covered, and c4 protects the knight. So
yeah, very nice.
Knight b5, king takes d5, pawn c4, then you king c6,
king c6.
bishop d5.
bishop d5. Yep, and that's
yeah.
Checkmate. No, because the king can still run to b6.
B6, but then you can place a knight on d7. So knight d7.
Yep. Or we have another diagonal. Oh no, we can't. Yeah. Okay. Knight. How I'm trying to think how we're mating. Okay, so sorry, this is like a visualization exercise.
I see.
So knight b5.
Knight d7. Yeah, knight b5.
King here. King goes to c6. Okay. Now you're going to go bishop at d5. Bishop at d5 is covered by the queen, remember? So, but you can go.
But if you go to c6, bishop d5, d7.
Bishop d7 is.
And it's not mating.
Yeah, bishop d7 is easier. So he goes to b6.
Yeah.
Then what? So now we have.
No, he can't go to b6.
So we're thinking the king comes.
Knight b5.
Yep.
The knight is covering b6. What do you mean if he takes on?
So the knight is covering. The knight is on b5. Okay, so maybe I'll play it through.
Okay.
Knight b5.
So knight b5. King takes d5. Pawn c4. King c6. Bishop d5.
King b6.
Maybe there's a faster mate.
Yeah, king b6. And now, yeah.
Bishop d5.
Oh, sorry, not bishop d5. Bishop d7, we said.
Yeah, that was the other line. If he went to c6 first.
Actually, we can go.
I was thinking.
Oh yeah, we can go bishop d5 because it's supported by the pawn. So if he gives up the queen, then he's finished. So bishop d5 is fine. So bishop d5, yeah. King b6.
Yeah, bishop d5.
And now, what's the mate?
Bishop d5.
Yep. Bishop.
Knight d7.
Knight d7, and if king goes to a6.
Yeah. Knight c5, and rook takes b7, mate.
Knight c5 and rook takes b7. Very nice. Okay, cool. So
something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And Terra had the time to figure it all out, by the way. But so let's see. Engine likes knight c7 here. I don't understand giving away this knight. It wants a construction of a knight. Oh, this is crazy. So this is the reason I'm looking at this is actually, even just looking at this very simple position, it gives you kind of constructions that would be amazing if they were part of our pattern memory, like this construction of a knight, bishop, rook. Sorry, I should. We're not in a study, so I should be saying the moves. The engine wants to go knight c7, bishop takes knight, then knight at b4, king d6, and bishop at c4. So you have this construction with the knight on b4, a bishop on c5, and the rook on e7. And so the king is cut off, the dark squares are covered by the bishop, and the light squares are covered by the knight. So yeah, so the engine comes up with all of these amazing patterns, which are just amazing. Okay, but the line we were suggesting was at c4, king c6, and another move. Okay, so another idea it comes up with is knight takes a7, just clearing away that knight, so that we can now it can come back to. Oh, so now we get a pawn on b5. So because a6 is a tricky square to mate the king on a6. So this is and then whichever way the king goes, a bishop on c5 is mate. I don't know. It's just I think this position is really nice in terms of trying to see and understand sort of patterns. Okay, so what happened in the game was actually what actually happened in the game was oh, knight b5 happened in the game. King takes d5 at c4, king c6, but then knight at e5 happened, which is very natural. It's very natural to put your knights 3 apart like this, because knights 3 apart cover a little square of, so in this case, c6, c7, d6, d7 are all covered. And the one problem with this position is how are you going to mate a king on a6, because the knight checks are covered by the bishop.
But it's still mate because you have knight d7 after king b6.
Yeah, so king b6 happened, knight e7 came.
No, b7 is Yeah, I see now. B6 is covered by the queen.
So
I mean, B7 is covered by the queen.
yes,
It wasn't with the bishop on D5.
exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. So we don't have rook takes b7. Yeah. So he's doing this little knight dance. He's covered, just like in our line, he's covered a6, but now the king is coming back to c6, and so on move 28, I'm sure viewers can see and Ganesh can see the mate here. So the rook is protecting the bishop.
Oh, there's still a mate.
Yeah, there's still a mate. The rook is protecting the bishop.
Yeah, just take a7.
Yeah, the king is in a trap. Just take a7 and use a pawn to mate. Okay. So it's like there are so many really nice patterns in this position. But actually, the amazing thing is probably the best way of dealing with this original position is instead of rook at e7, which we all found so natural, was instead knight at c5. Because if the king ever goes, if the king goes back, it's just mate in 1, so the king can't go back. If the king comes forwards, then that doesn't.
Well, he can't go to D6. Yeah, king takes D6. It's rook D7 mate at once. So he has to go to.
Yeah, so if he takes here, it's mate in 2. Yeah, so here, and here. So he has to go. So he has to come up to c6, and now and now knight, is it knight e7? Lucas Schack says bishop.
Here, you could just play. You can play bishop b5
bishop
if you
b5.
want.
Yeah, Lucas Schack suggesting bishop at b5.
Yeah.
And what if the king takes the knight, then drop a pawn and step back? So eventually you're pushing the king to take d6, basically. So
Yes, and then
so bishop at b5. He has to take d5. You can just push him back with the pawn. He's forced to take d6, and once he takes d6, we've seen the mate. It's this sort of hook mate with the rook and the knight. Okay. So king to c6. I think even quicker is knight to e7. Oh no, it's not knight to e7. It's knight at e7. New knight at e7. King takes d6 is forced, and now anything is mate. Yeah. So I think knight at c5 was actually the quickest mate in the position. Even quicker than rook at e7. Rook at e7. But okay, I thought this was just a very instructive position because there's so many mating patterns that come out, and even a 2400 player up against a 2600 player, as it were, feels the pressure of the position. So because Terra was, as Marlon says in the Twitch chat, Terra was so close to drawing the match 5-5 and at least having some tie breaks with littleplotkin. But okay, any final thoughts, Knez?
Well, the sequence I recommended with the bishop e4 check, it's very safe because if you can't find a mate, you can always simply take the queen on g2.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You can you have a plan B.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, there were other patterns as well which actually came up when I was thinking about it. So because what I like about this is there are all these sorts of weird patterns. So so if king takes knight, what was the other one I was thinking? No, this isn't it. It's bishop. What I like about this position is the weird the weird patterns. King takes knight, knight at c. Hang on a second. No. What's this? Oh yes, I was thinking knight here, so then you take the queen if you fail. But I think actually taking the queen is still risky actually because black's got so much material in hand that even taking the queen. Oh, but taking the queen with the bishop is safe. Yeah.
You You need to take it with a bishop.
Yeah, you need to take it with the bishop. Yeah.
Yeah. So the pawn c4, bishop d5 was just so either black has to give up. I mean the d5 square is nice for the bishop.
Yeah. So yeah, another of these nice constructions was this rook, knight, and so we saw one nice construction with the knight here, bishop here, and a rook here. And another nice one is with the knight on. So putting the knight on the same color as the bishop is interesting because then the knight covers light squares and the bishop covers dark squares. But this is sort of stuff that comes naturally to strong chess players. They just calculate it. But this is a nice sort of pattern: the rook, knight, bishop in a kind of triangular formation. Gingerbread Man says, "I'm sure he can take heart though from not getting 6-0 and actually making it a fight." Yeah. So I'll just show one last time the knight at b5 line. Knight at b5, king takes knight, and it's really nice. You putting on pieces to defend existing attackers. So it's a check, but it also defends here. Yeah, so that's why that's nice. Bishop here, check. So worst come to worst, we can defend our king and take this queen. Still looks risky. How do we cover a6? But we've got this rook at b7, knight at c5, mate.
Yeah, you can just take b7.
Yeah, rook takes b7, knight c5.
Take b7 now.
Yeah. What are other ideas it had? There's knight to a4, knight. Oh, that's what we did in the. That was the line we had. Knight to a4, knight to c4, doing this, and then take b7. But yeah, comes to the same thing. Okay, but okay, I think
you can
yeah, I think it's just a really instructive position though, because like if 2400s can fail to mate, I mean we all have this feeling. It happens to all of us, like mere mortals, of failing to find mate against a strong player. So yeah.
All right, too bad retarded platypus wasn't in the mood to play.
Yep. Not today.
Oh well.
So it's a knight at c7 takes. So I'm just showing one final crazy line, drawing the king up the board, and bishop back will be mate. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, thanks for joining for the little commentary, and I guess we had a nice look at this position as well. Okay. And thanks everyone for thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. I might raid someone if someone recommends someone to raid. So I am Rosen is streaming. Pepe is streaming. Okay. Pepe is trying out new variants. So let's raid Pepe. Nice. Oop. Okay, so thanks everyone for watching, and see you over on the other side on Pepe's stream. Bye guys.